Hey everybody, sorry it's been a minute, but I wanted to jump on here and do a quick update. And first of all, to thank you guys again for all of your generous contributions that made it possible for us to get these tests done. We got the results of the Cunningham panel and the FRAT test back this last week. And so I'm going to go over those real quick, and then I will go over like what's next steps and how Journey's doing and what we're doing for Journey right now and all of that good stuff. First of all, the Cunningham panel, which is used as a sort of diagnostic indicator for PANDAS, it measures 5 things, and 3 out of the 5 indicators for Journey were elevated. So this test, it was explained to us that would be, confirming that her diagnosis is indeed PANS, which is good and bad, right? It's good to have answers. It sucks that she has this, disorder or disease that has so many different parts to it, but we're glad that we're on the right track, and there's no way we could have done that test without all of you. So again, thank you for doing that. And then the FRAT test, the folate receptor antibody test, that one also came back with a positive indicator. So basically, we had a bunch of blood work done. We did the Cunningham panel, the FRAT test, and then like some regular labs. Other than the FRAT and Cunningham coming back positive and with concerns, we found out a couple of other things through the blood work. We found that, Journey's, I think it's called IgG4, which is an kind of like an indicator of an autoimmune disorder. That came back elevated as well for Journey. She came back with a severe vitamin D deficiency, as well as iron and zinc. Another one of the tests that she ran suggests that Journey might suffer from leaky gut syndrome. And then when we went to Children's to do a separate consult to address her feeding issues, they also said that her height, she's grown about 3 inches in the last 6 months, and her height is like way taller than should be at this time. So we're going to be doing further testing in that area as well. And that's basically the results that we've gotten back. So then what are we going to do about this, right? The leaky gut syndrome and the feeding, that's going to be like handled through Children's Colorado Springs in their occupational therapy or speech therapy outpatient clinic, doing weekly feeding therapy so that we can work on increasing her food varieties and the nutrients that her body's getting, because she's lacking in a lot of nutrients due to her severely restricted eating. And then Children's is also going to do that genetic panel, so we are waiting for them to call us back so we can just check the thyroid and make sure that there's nothing else going on there that we're missing. And because we had that elevated IgG4, the doctor also wants us to do see a rheumatologist and get an autoimmune panel done, just to make sure we're not missing any of those kind of classic autoimmune diseases as well. Of course, we're going to be using supplements to help her get her vitamin D, iron, and zinc back up to where they need to be to help her have a healthy immune system to fight off everything she gets. Because when you have PANS, every infection leads to all of these other side effects, right? So all of the mental health issues are essentially caused by infections in the body. We had to decide whether we were going to treat the Cunningham panel first or the FRAT test first. And we came to the conclusion that we would treat the Cunningham panel first, which is going to be a course of antibiotics and steroids to decrease the inflammation in Journey and get rid of any underlying infections that we're not really seeing on any of the lab tests. That should only be for about 5 days. And then when we go back to see the doctor in about a month, we're going to look at treating the FRAT test. For the FRAT test, I don't really understand it. It's a lot of science. But basically, Journey needs to not have anything with folic acid, and we're going to have to add a supplement of folinic acid sometime in the future. And then work on getting her food intake up to normal so that she could be replenishing those in her body through her diet rather than having to take all these supplements. Whew, okay. So that's the kind of bad news, because we did find a lot of things that we're going to have to deal with, and it's like a long road ahead. But then I want to also share with you guys the good news, because Journey has been on this holistic regimen of vitamins and minerals for about 7 or 8 weeks now. And she has had about an 85% decrease in her symptoms. So she is doing phenomenal. I had to write them down because I can't remember all of them. Basically, we took her all off of all of her psych medicines. And she hasn't even been taking Benadryl as a PRN, which we were giving her that for anxiety because it's something she could tolerate and helped her to calm down. She hasn't been taking that either. So basically, these are all of the things that have been decreased significantly. Her food aversions, her rages, her crying spells or hysterical kind of lashing out at people, her OCD symptoms, that am I gonna die 100 times a day, gone. Her anxiety, her tics, and her depression. All of those symptoms are close to 90% resolved, and I am just beyond words with gratitude for you guys, because we wouldn't have never been able to pursue this path without all of your contributions. In addition to those, the inflammation in her body has decreased significantly. We had a referral to the ENT to see about removing her tonsils, but by the time we got there, we had been on this regimen for about a month, and her tonsils had shrunk so significantly that there's no tonsillectomy. He said absolutely not. They're perfect size, and just pursue the feeding therapy. She's also increased her diet, so she went from less than 10 foods that she was consuming to 16 or 17 foods in the last 2 weeks. And she has a new interest about eating. She's asking me for new things and willing to try new things, which hasn't been the case in years. She has, started making her own meals and taking her own shower and washing her own hair. For a kiddo with autism and sensory issues, that's a big deal. And she's doing it, She's participating at school. In fact, we're going to start transitioning her back to 1 day a week in the building starting on Tuesday, because she wants to go back to school, which is amazing. We're not fighting every day about school. She's also just had this brand new interest in life. So she's asking to learn piano and go back to school and learn gymnastics and acting and get friends and have a social life. And she is giving me unsolicited hugs and I love yous. And the am I gonna dies are almost non-existent. A couple times a day she'll say, hey mom, nothing bad's gonna happen, right? I'll say, nope, Journey, you're fine, and that's it. And I don't even know, because it's miraculous. What has happened in the last 2 months compared to the last 2 years has been nothing short of a miracle. And I just want to get on here and tell you guys thank you for giving me my daughter back. And I will keep you guys posted on what comes next, because the journey is far from over, but we sure are on the right track. I love you guys.